working as an academic coordinator with the Sanskar Valley School. Ma'am, there were certain myths which are broken today. As a school, we felt that we are very, very strong with the use of technology and leveraging technology for achieving children more. But after this session, I'm feeling a bit low that we have a long path to follow. So I have a request, if we can come up with a prototype of something called technology audits in school. At some time after attending such kind of sessions, which are eye-opening, actually we feel there is a long path to go. So if you all can come up with some sort of system like technology audits where we can invite experts to school and they can guide us what is the way forward and how we can, make the systems better.
So thank you for raising that very important question. In fact, this morning, when we were having a conversation amongst ourselves, we were talking about this inherent fear that springs up in the mind of the people. When we talk about all these futuristic elements, there is a sense of awe and how, that inertia can be broken and where do we start from. So in terms of, I'll let the panelists respond to the second part, but on the first part on technology audit, if you go to a website, education.microsoft.com, and if you click on school leaders and click on resources, there are a whole range of instruments which are very easy to use, where you can do a self-audit on multiple competencies, both at an individual level as well as an organizational level. And there is also a path, from that, there is a path that is there, there are white papers that are there, that kind of unfolds that how do we get started, what are the critical conversations. It's actually all about change management. So Chris, would you like to respond to this one?
Don't feel as disappointed as you're feeling. It happens, you move on. What Vinnie has told you is excellent, because if I had been on that website, I wouldn't have made all the mistakes that we did, which I mentioned earlier. Inside that, there is a module called Design, Deploy, and Transform, which is an excellent module for any school leader on what are your touch points, what are the things that you're looking out for, and what are the challenges that you would face, how you would overcome it, how would you check and monitor whether we're actually moving forward on this platform or not, and whether it's widespread across the school, and where are the problems. And I would suggest you go to that website. But otherwise, if you invite us for a cup of tea, we're more than happy to take a trip across and meet up with you all. And actually, that is collaboration. You cannot grow alone. And that is what this Microsoft platform gives us, because when your teachers become Microsoft innovative educators, they're suddenly talking to MIEs all across the world and sharing experiences. And that will help you.
Would you like to? Yeah, please.
Hello, I'm Ajay Shukla, CEO of AHC GCC Investment LLC, long name, based out of Dubai. We are a higher education holding company, bringing a spectrum of universities to UAE. My question is that we heard that curriculum seems to be a challenge in innovation, entrepreneurship, and the 21st century skills that we need to give to our children. So why are we still in a 19th century curriculum trying to teach 20th century skills to a 21st century environment? Why aren't we collectively putting enough pressure for the curriculum to change?
Good question. But I think you're very right. It needs to be done, because I think these are things that are set in the government sector. And therefore, there need to be a lot of voices for us to. But having said that, I would like to look at the definition of curriculum. Curriculum is every experience that a student has within the four walls, within your perimeter of your school. Academics, which a lot of people refer to the academic, the board you follow, as curriculum is a very small part of that. How you engage with your children is part of curriculum. So even if you don't change the content, but change the way you deal with the content, yes, you will still have problems because there's an assessment. That assessment affects your pedagogy, and that's where the problem lies. But I'm sure within that also for schools, you can still do a lot of work if you just process that content a little differently.
Okay. With the permission of the chair, there are some school children we have today in the audience. So I'd like to, they're possibly enjoying the school system or suffering the school system. So I'd like to go over them and ask any questions. So I see some school children here, there. Any questions from you? We'll give you bonus marks for these questions. Yeah, okay. You could introduce yourself and the school that you're from.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Amrita Parsai from IWS Indore. I'm in grade 12th. I want to ask that whatever we're thinking of right now, the technology, the opportunities that you guys are providing, these are the financially well-off, economically developed sectors. So how can we provide the same opportunities to the villages, to the children of India who don't have the same access to the same technology, to the same funds?
Thank you. Good question.
Actually, I don't think finance is a blockage anywhere, because this is the cheapest way of imparting knowledge today. You know, if you look at your mobile phone today, that is an accessory that is available everywhere. And using that mobile phone, there is knowledge that can be disseminated to large sections of students. I mean, some of these devices will actually cost less than a complete bag of books that you have.
And just to add to that, for especially our country and the kind of needs we have, and whenever I think of something, in my life in general, what comes to me is the picture of a village without roads, where 15 minutes of rain creates such a lot of slush, you can't walk through it. Electricity comes very few hours in the day. Kids have to get up, milk the cows, and then go to school, or do something else, cut the grass. And I try to think of a model that works there. And I agree with Pradeep, it's not about cost. It's just about changing the way we work, and this is the greatest leveler. If you want, because we can't develop if our villages don't develop, where 80% of our people are. And if you want that to change, and you want to solve the problem of the teacher who didn't go to school, one school which didn't have a roof, so every time it rains they don't go to school, and so many other problems that we keep hearing about, it's technology and anytime, anywhere, learning that will solve the problem, because you don't need to go to school, you could sit at home and also study.
Yeah, and there are a lot of examples. The Wi-Fi experiment using TV's unused spaces. There was an experiment at Srikakulam where the tribal girls went through some exposure. At the school level, the teachers went through some exposure, and they did amazing work. There was a complete transformation, and there are numerous such cases, especially from Tamil Nadu. So the change is happening, and as rightly said, it's not about finance, it's the mindset and attitude change that will take us forward. And a lot of things that seem inaccessible are not really inaccessible.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair. Would you like to give any closing comments for the session?
So, to sum up, there have been very interesting questions and insights that have been brought in. Entrepreneurship and innovation is the way forward. There are numerous experiments happening across the country, and even with very limited resources, outstanding interventions can happen. Each of the school leaders, every teacher, every student needs to contribute to the change. The change comes in by ownership from the leadership. If the leadership is involved and the inspiration for faculty exists, I think transformational impact can be achieved with student involvement. And going forward, we all need to work in partnership. It's not about a large power distance between different stakeholders. Peer-assisted learning, networks, creating global communities, I think is the way to go forward. Thank you.